Bill Belichick has 8 Super Bowl rings. No member of a coaching staff has one more. Now, he might be famous for something else, a scandal. He sat down for an interview at CBS alongside his much younger girlfriend. The headlines were scathing. Belichick is risking his legacy, and the interview was a train wreck. Watch for yourself.
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
That was the girlfriend in the corner there, Jordan. Nate Foy, live in New York City with Belichick's response. So he's talking now, Nate.
He is, yeah. The coaching legend says CBS Sunday Morning ran a misdirection play on him and created a false narrative, making it look like his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, was shutting down questions. But it was Belichick who shut down questions about their social media presence. Take a look.
It's a different side of you. What's the reaction been like?
What's it been like? Yeah, so I'm on some of those social media platforms, but I honestly don't follow them.
Harris, Belichick says that he told his publisher that the interview should focus on his new book entitled The Art of Winning, Lessons from My Life in Football. And Hudson jumped in when that request wasn't honored, according to Belichick, adding, quote, "She was not deflecting any specific question or topic, but simply doing her job to ensure the interview stayed on track." Hudson, who's gone from college cheerleader to social media star, met Belichick on a flight to Palm Beach back in 2021. She reportedly stormed out of the interview with CBS. The network says, quote, "When we agreed to speak to Mr. Belichick, it was for a wide-ranging interview. There were no preconditions or limitations to this conversation. This was confirmed repeatedly with his publisher before the interview took place and after it was completed." Now, those close to Belichick are expressing concern, including NBA legend Charles Barkley, who says this appears to be the beginning of a slippery slope. Now, some reports say Hudson now plays a very active role in Belichick's professional life and may be exerting a high degree of influence on him, which it appeared to be the case in the interview. Harris?
All right, Nate. Thank you very much. You've set us up perfectly. Michelle Tafoya, former NFL sideline reporter, now host of the Michelle Tafoya podcast. You have to listen to that. It's really good. All right. Maybe you'll give us a taste right here because this is the big story. What do you say?
Well, it is a big story. This has overshadowed so much of what Bill Belichick is and what he's done.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. I do. At the moment. Now, it's not like it's irreparable. It never is, right? But this is a guy who's really exercised control in his media relations forever. Anyone who's ever been in on a Bill Belichick press conference, or as I have been, I mean, many, 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 many times in a meeting with him or interviewed him at halftime, understands the guy is not a fan of the media. So here he is trying to promote a book in which, by the way, he acknowledges Jordan as his muse and his idea mill. To go into an interview and think that you're not going to get asked about this, particularly when she's sitting right there in the room, is a little bit naive. Now, he claims that Simon & Schuster, the publisher, laid out this parameter that, you know, you've got to just stick to the book. You know, then maybe Simon & Schuster should have had a representative there. But this is not a good look for a legendary coach.
Well, look, what we've learned is something that I had said on Outnumbered a couple days ago, I think it was. I said, look, you don't know the parameters of and the inner workings of their relationship. They're 49 years apart. I don't really care about that. I don't judge their relationship. But if this is true and she's CCO of what I would think is probably a good pot of money of his after all those years of winning, and reports of her maybe, you know, having a little bit of that cash her own. Again, don't know what they worked out. That's their business. You get comments like this from people who really know Bill Belichick. And Nate mentioned this. A very close friend, Charles Barkley, had this to say. And it's a surprise he's talking about it at all. Watch.
Yeah.
He's been a great friend for me for a long time. I never talk about people's personal relationship. That's another rule I got. But I will admit I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that's going on. And I might actually reach out to him.
Yeah, he eventually went on in that interview to call it a slippery slope. Michelle.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. We've seen video of Jordan at a spring practice at UNC Both of Bill's sons are on his staff at UNC, and one of his daughter-in-laws actually sort of threw shade on Jordan for storming out of the interview saying, look, this isn't professional to do that. If you're going to be the PR rep in this interview, it's not necessarily professional to storm out of the room. Now, I don't know if the daughter-in-law has firsthand knowledge of this. We've heard it through TMZ reporting that is what happened. So this is all really interesting, but look, you've got a legendary coach who's in his 70s dating a 24-year-old who seems to have an inordinate amount of control over what he's saying and maybe even doing and what he's participating in. To me, it just it doesn't look good. I've kept in touch with a lot of my friends who are still in sports broadcasting, and it's just questionable. And one of them actually said to me, "What do you think the chancellor of UNC is thinking?
Now, see,
what about
that's
these
the
people who
question.
hired Bill?"
Yeah, that's the question.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's more than just his image, it's the schools. I want to get to this. One of
Correct.
Belichick's former players, Ted Johnson, said this.
Yeah.
The UNC Carolina Tar Heels should consider firing Bill Belichick. That they should consider letting him go at this point. It's a lot of money, and they're deep into obviously their preparation for next year. I'm worried that Bill Belichick just isn't fit to coach college kids, and UNC should consider cutting ties with Bill Belichick.
Michelle, does that go too far, or is that right where this should be?
Look, he's entitled to his opinion, Ted Johnson. He played under Bill Belichick for many years, won, I think, 3 Super Bowls with Bill Belichick. He understands the man better than probably most of us, knows what he's like as a coach, knows what he's like in the locker room. I don't think UNC is going to fire Bill Belichick at this point. They are deep into preparations. He's got a coaching staff around him that is NFL caliber, seriously. So what they're thinking probably in the higher offices at North Carolina, Chapel Hill, is you better win. You better come in and win and contend for a championship, because that's why we hired you. And if we're going to put up with some of these distractions, that's what we need to see. So trust me, I think Bill Belichick is focused on W's, and that's probably about it. Outside of this, this has been a big distraction, though. This has been a story this week that had gotten so much attention. And, you know, I think that has to be considered by everyone. Is it going to be worth the distraction?
Well, and those parents who are paying for their kids to go to that school and play football, they want him to win too, regardless of what's going on off the field, because many of their children may have NILs. They have their own public images to worry about. They don't need to, the thirst trap of him on the beach with a mermaid, like on social
or doing
media.
what she calls Pilates. I'm not into yoga, but I like Pilates. I mean, it's all really quite something for a guy who's had so much tight control over his media relations, and has this won is really much. It's out of character.
Yeah. Well, I argue it won't take those Super Bowls back, because it won't. So he'll always be known for that. But in the meantime, he's got to win, and I think you're right about that. All right, and it helps him sell books. Come on, bottom line. There's a little bit of game being played here.
Yeah,
Michelle Tafoya.
I imagine the book will sell.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.